Good evening, everybody. I hope everybody is enjoying their Sunday evening. I'm meteorologist Hunter Forst. This is Hurricane Hub Live, where we track everything that's going on in the tropics. And there are sure a lot of things going on in the Atlantic this evening. We have a new named system, and we have Hurricane Humberto, which we've been tracking over the last couple of days. And here they are, relatively close together. Humberto to the right, Imelda to the left, which is over the Bahamas right now. Became a tropical storm earlier this afternoon, but it's kind of like a tale of two cities here. We have a very well organized major hurricane, Humberto, and then we have a newly forming system. We have Tropical Storm Imelda, which will slowly but surely start to get its act together over the next day or so. But let's take a closer look at Hurricane Humberto, and just a classic looking hurricane, a textbook system here. We see that really well defined eye. Starting to see some dry air starting to get into the center of circulation there, which is probably going to help it lose its strength as we go throughout the next couple of days. And that's exactly what we're expecting. That's what the National Hurricane Center saying, that it's going to continue to lose its strength over the next couple of days. But here's a closer look at Tropical Storm Imelda. Not looking nearly as organized, but it's trying. It's really trying to tap into that warm water around the Bahamas, and we're seeing that here with that blow up of convection over the last couple of hours. Right now, Tropical Storm Imelda moving to the north at about 9 miles per hour, winds at about 40 miles per hour. So it's a weaker tropical storm, but it'll continue to gain strength heading into the day tomorrow. And then by Tuesday, we're going to see it turn to the right, out towards the east, thanks to Humberto. And it'll become a Category 1 hurricane by the time we get into Tuesday, and it'll continue to strengthen over the next couple of days. But luckily, it will start to move out to sea. Right now, we have tropical storm warnings up for parts of the Bahamas, but it does look like they took down the tropical storm watch for areas around Florida. Here's a look at Hurricane Humberto. Right now, winds are about 145 miles per hour, so it's a Category 4 storm. Going to continue to push off towards the north and the west over the next couple of days, continue to weaken as it passes by Bermuda off towards its west, and then it'll move off towards the north and the east as we head into the middle and end of the upcoming work week. But a lot of the East Coast will still feel some effects from Humberto, even though it's hundreds of miles away, still will create some large waves. But let's take a look at Humberto here and Imelda heading into the upcoming work week, Monday into Tuesday. Humberto, a stronger system, is going to take hold of Imelda and grab onto it and take it out to sea as we head into Wednesday and Thursday. Remember, the last couple of days, the model runs were saying that Imelda was going to form and then likely make landfall in an area around South Carolina. And a lot of the models were really saying that. But Humberto kind of sped up a little bit. Imelda wasn't forming quickly. It was moving slowly. So Humberto caught up, and Imelda is going to get caught up into that larger system, which is why it's going to get pulled out to sea. So best case scenario here. Here's a look at the swells around Humberto. 10 to 15 feet around the hurricane, about 10 feet just off towards its west, right around the Bahamas, up around Florida. Not looking like crazy wave heights, but as we head into the next couple of days, we'll see those heights starting to get much bigger along the East Coast. Here we are Monday evening, around 3 to 6 feet from Norfolk, Virginia Beach, down through the Outer Banks into North and South Carolina. And then we see those swells get larger and larger heading into Tuesday, 6 to 10 feet in a few areas. Closer to Humberto, up to 26 feet around that buoy. Heading into Tuesday night, continuing 8 to 10 foot waves, and then starting to come down a bit heading into Wednesday afternoon and Wednesday evening. But still, even heading into Wednesday evening, still seeing wave heights around 8 feet off the Outer Banks there. Let's take a look, though, at the main threats for the coast. The main threats are really coastal. We're not going to have any of these systems making landfall, which is great news, but we could still see some beach erosion in a few of these areas, rough surf, and of course, high rip current risk as well. But again, let's take a look at rainfall over the next couple of days. Heading into Tuesday, some lighter showers around North Carolina into South Carolina. Some heavier bands getting on the coast of South Carolina, but really the heaviest of rain stays offshore. So flooding risk is much lower compared to what we were looking at just a few days ago. Really no flood threat at all from these systems. So over the next couple of days, the 7-day rainfall total, maybe it'll take a minute to load here. There we go. I was waiting for that. I was hoping that was going to happen. So not a whole lot of rainfall over the next 7 days. Up towards eastern North Carolina, the northeast portion of the state, Virginia, not a whole bunch over the next week. And even down into the Carolinas, central North Carolina and central South Carolina, a ½ inch to maybe an inch, and closer to the coast where you saw some of those heavier bands, pockets, very, very small pockets of about 4 to 7 inches, but mainly a lot of the area, maybe 2 to 4, 1 to 2 further inland, 2 to 4 closer to the coast. And again, that's over a 7-day period. Let's take a look at the wind field as well over the next few days. You'll notice the tropical storm force winds staying well off the coast, and of course the hurricane force winds here in red are going to stay even further away from the coastline because, of course, the strongest winds are closer to the center. But it's still going to be pretty breezy along the East Coast for a lot of us. We have these two systems down to the south. We have Imelda and we have Humberto, and those will continue to push off towards the north. And then we have a high pressure system building in Canada, Canadian high pressure. So as they get closer and closer and closer, you're going to see a stronger pressure gradient between the high pressure and the low pressure. So it's going to create some pretty windy conditions for a lot of the East Coast heading into the work week, Monday, especially Tuesday, into Wednesday as well. And that should start to simmer a bit heading into the end of the week and into next weekend, but still it's going to be a pretty breezy to windy next couple of days. Monday not looking too bad. Gusts anywhere from 15 to 20 miles per hour down from Virginia into the Carolinas. Not much going on further up towards the north. By the time we get into Tuesday morning, coming up a tad, 20 to 30 mile per hour gusts from Virginia Beach down to around Hatteras. As we get into our Tuesday afternoon and Tuesday evening, 30 to 40 miles per hour. This is Wednesday morning, 40 mile per hour gusts around Hatteras, up towards Rhode Island, Nantucket, 20 to 30 mile per hour gusts. So really 20 to 30 mile per hour gusts along the entire East Coast from that really tight pressure gradient. You can see that counterclockwise spin there from the hurricane just off the coast of Bermuda and in between Bermuda and the East Coast. And as we get into our Wednesday evening, still up to about 44 mile per hour gusts in Hatteras. Looking like the Outer Banks will see the strongest of wind gusts along the entire East Coast as we go throughout the next couple of days. 34 in Virginia Beach, 24 mile per hour gusts in areas around southern New Jersey, 20 to 30 mile per hour gusts up around New England. All right, let's take a look at the future of hurricane season. Let's go all the way to October 1st through October 2nd. The Climate Prediction Center saying there could be a low chance of some development as we head into the first week of October in the main development region, but you're still seeing some warm waters here in this region during that time. But Climate Prediction Center saying it's still something to watch as we head into the first week of October. And even as we get towards the second week, still some relatively low chances we could see some development into portions of the Bay of Campeche and the Caribbean Sea. So not looking at anything major once these two systems kind of push away. So that's the good news, but we still have a while left of the hurricane season. We're at September 28th here. The season goes all the way to the end of November. So we're past peak. That was September 10th. So I can't believe it's already almost October, but we'll continue to see the trend going down over the next couple of weeks before hurricane season is over by the end of November. Here's a look at the 2025 Atlantic storm names we've seen so far, from Andrea to Barry, Chantel, Aaron, Gabrielle. We saw Humberto, and now Imelda is the newest one. Now, one thing to notice is that as of right now, we're kind of behind schedule or below average for the hurricane season. But where we aren't, or where we are average, is actually the major hurricanes. Normally we average around 3 major hurricanes per season, and Humberto made that 3 for 3. We saw it was, let's take a look here. It was Aaron, of course, which was Category 5, Gabrielle, Category 4, and then Humberto, which also got to Category 5 strength. So not only were they major hurricanes, but also Cat 4s and Cat 5s. Next name on the list would be Jerry, and then we have Karen and Lorenzo. And again, we normally average around 14 named storms per season, 7 hurricanes and 3 major hurricanes. All right, coming up on Hurricane Hub Live, we're going to take a look at the Eastern Pacific. All the latest on that coming up in just a couple of minutes. Welcome back to Hurricane Hub Live. I'm meteorologist Hunter Forst. Now we are in the Eastern Pacific. Not a whole bunch going on in this area of the world, tropics-wise, but we do have Tropical Storm Narda, which has been weakening and weakening and weakening over the last couple of days. And you could really tell here on the tropical satellite, it is struggling for its life, and it's going to start to dissipate very, very soon. Right now, Tropical Storm Narda, as of the 5 o'clock advisory, winds at about 40 miles per hour, gusting to 50, and it's going to turn back into a remnant low over the next day or so, then kind of just puff away. So that's some great news there. It's not going to affect any land, but that's the only named system right now in the Eastern Pacific. But there are a few other areas that we are watching out there. There is one area off the coast of Mexico, 20% chance of development over the next 7 days. And then we have this area here in red, which there's a 70% chance of development over the next week, 40% chance over the next 2 days. So environmental conditions are pretty conducive for tropical development, probably tropical depression forming within the upcoming work week. So something to watch there, but it does look like it'll push out to sea. So some good news there. The East Pacific season has been a bit more active than the Atlantic season. They've gone from Alvin all the way to Narda. Next name on the list would be Octave, Priscilla, and then they have Raymond. They've seen a few hurricanes as well. Barbara, Eric, Flossie, Gil, Henriette, Kiko, Lorena, and Narda. So they've seen a good amount of hurricanes this season. Hopefully, we won't name any more, but there's a chance we could see Octave coming up as we go throughout the next couple of days. All right, that is it for Hurricane Hub Live. I appreciate you joining me today. I'm meteorologist Hunter Forst. And of course, this happens every day, Monday through Friday at 8 o'clock. Tim Pandages will be back here tomorrow at 8. Enjoy the rest of your evening.